Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to show you how to install a Bosch dishwasher. Let's get to it. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you about, what I have here is a couple of different dishwasher models, and the reason being is both of them have slight differences in the installation process. They just have different connections both for the electrical as well as the plumbing. And I'm going to go through some of the things you're going to look for once you actually start unpackaging your existing Bosch dishwasher. There's going to be a bag that includes the hardware, and this particular bag has some different, the mounting brackets, the extension hose. This is to attach for the water supply, and then a leveling part, as well as some screws and some additional attachments. But I'll show you later where these are going to be installed. So look out for bags like this. So once you get your dishwasher unboxed, open up the unit and locate all the different bags. This way you could follow along during the installation process. The other bag, this is another option for this other model, and same idea. It's got some mounting brackets, but as you can see, they're slightly different than those mounting brackets. Then you got a clamp for the drain hose, and then there's other options for different mounting if you're going to be doing like a side mount installation, and then some hardware there. Also look out for your kick plates that typically will be either in the packaging somewhere on the box, wherever they are. But look out for your kick plates. Then the other thing that is really important, Bosch has a unique way of powering up their units. So you're gonna have, I'm gonna go ahead and open this just to show you, because this is something, actually, so look out for something like this. This actually has the power cord for it, but I also have them here in some boxes. So I'm gonna show you what they look like. So this is Bosch's very unique power cord. Without this, you can't connect your Bosch dishwasher. It's this plug-in, and as I said, I'll show you later where this gets plugged in. But you're gonna look for this power cord, and then on some models, the opposite model is depending on if you have an outlet. Your dishwasher may not actually be just a direct plug-in. So there is what Bosch also has is this right here, junction box that allows you to hardwire your unit. So it gives you the connection that you would need to be able to connect it to the dishwasher itself, and then you're going to run your hard wires into this box so you can actually hardwire your dishwasher. If your particular setup does not if you don't have an outlet under your sink to plug in the dishwasher, you're going to use this junction box to hardwire it. Or of course, the other option you always do have is just converting your electrical by putting an outlet and plugging it in directly. So as far as with the unit, that's about all you'd be looking for. The other thing, the drain hoses normally on the Bosch dishwashers will come pre-attached. The drain hose is not anything you're gonna have to look for. Then additionally, what I'm gonna be needing in addition to the stuff that comes with the unit is you're gonna want a steel braided 3/8 connection line, just a steel braided line. It has it's a 3/8 inch hose, and this is the standard for the plumbing on dishwashers. And other than that, additionally, some tools that we're gonna make my life a lot easier installing this. You're gonna need a flathead screwdriver. That's something for sure. In leveling the feet, just a flathead screwdriver is gonna be one. The other thing is I always like using my multi-use screwdriver. It's got Phillips, it's got flathead, it's got some different socket sizes. So that's always my go-to. I use this for everything. You need the 5/8 inch wrench or a pair of pliers, but the 5/8 is the standard size wrench for the water supply line. And then a pair of pliers, just something that's easy to adjust. I like these guys right here. This Husky actually does a great job with this tool. This is one of the best pair of pliers I've used. Other than that, that's really it. So get situated with your stuff in the very beginning. It makes everything go a lot smoother. Pull out all your parts, get them all ready, and let's go ahead and dive into getting the dishwasher ready for installation. Okay, so now as you start to prepare the dishwasher, I'm going to show you a couple of differences or what to look for in getting yours set up. And I'll start off by telling you on the electrical, both of these models, As I showed you the cords that it comes with, I'm gonna pull these out real quick just to give you a comparison of what it is. This is the power cord that I showed you previously. On these models, you're gonna look on this particular model, right back here on the bottom side. This right here just plugs right in. So you're gonna go in and essentially just plug it right in, and it goes into this placement. And let me see. Actually, so it's directional, so it shows you the way it's gonna be lined up. But it's just gonna go right in here, and bam, and that just plugs in just like that. So if you're plugging your dishwasher in, it's that simple in preparing a Bosch dishwasher. That's all you gotta do is plug that in, and bam, your power cord is ready to go. And I'll show you on this other model that I have here. That's the same on this actually, except if we're gonna be hardwiring them. So same thing, you see it right back here, back corner, bam, just goes right in. It's plugged in, and it clicks in, so you'll feel it actually clip in to plug it in. Now the other option, of course, is what I mentioned as far as hardwiring. If you're hardwiring the dishwasher, I'll go ahead and walk you through a little how to just get ready. This may or may not come with your dishwasher, but you might need it, and you would probably have to order it separately. Some models I see come packaged with it, and then at times I see that it doesn't come with it. If yours doesn't, this can be ordered. The part number on this is, and I'll add it to the description below. So if you need to hardwire your dishwasher, you're going to want to order this junction box, and essentially it does the same exact thing. You plug it in the same spot, and then from there, then what you're going to do is go ahead and open up this junction box right here. It's 4 Phillips head screws. So you could use that or use a drill, depending on what you're going to do. But I'll go ahead and pop that off real quick just to show you what it looks like in this box, because it's straightforward. You're going to fish through your electric wires to hardwire it and connect them, but it's pretty neat. Even beyond here, it's actually easy. You don't have to, it's really easy. So you're going to, in this kit, when you buy this, it also comes with this here that holds your wire. So you're essentially, what you're going to do here is run your electric through this, run it through this, and then on the other end you could tie it into place so it holds it in place. Actually, sorry, I got it backwards, but you can go either way. But you're going to run your electric through here, tighten this down, and then once it goes through here, this will hold the electric place right into place. And then once you run it through, your hard wires, what you're going to find in your wiring is a white wire, a black wire, and a ground wire. And it's super easy because you're just going to match that up. Your green is going to be your ground wire, which is your ground or your copper line. So you're going to run your bare copper line to this side where you see the green line. Then in the middle, we have our white wire. So you'll run the white wire right through here. And then over here on this side is the black wire. And just to give you a little bit of a visual, it's super simple. Once you fish them through, there's a little space for each wire to go in, and once you have them there, you just tighten down the screw to secure them in place. So once you tighten down this screw, you just go fully tightened, make sure it's completely tightened and snug, and then after you do that, once that's all the way, compressed tight, it's not turning anymore, just make sure it's pushed back. You can see it make the connection, and it's tight. There's no loose connections. You don't want to short your dishwasher. If there's any kind of loose or any kind of vibration or rattling or whatever, you'll end up shorting it out just because of any loose wire. So just as you can see, once you run the wire through, just tighten down the screw tight, make sure it's tight, and that's how you could wire it. You could actually do that at this step because the wire is going to be so long and the power cord is pretty long too. You can actually do it from, you have plenty of room because of how long this line is. So that's out of the way. I'm not going to dive into. I'm not going to tell you. That's pretty much what you have as far as electrical. So let's keep on moving. The next thing we're going to go over is I'm going to just leave this out for my installation because I actually do have an outlet to plug in the dishwasher. So we're not going to need the other box for this installation video. As far as the plumbing. Now, on this particular model, if you see this setup on the back of your dishwasher, this is right here. As you can see, this is the drain hose. It's already pre-attached, directly going to the pump underneath in a sealed system. So that's your drain hose. There's nothing that you got to do here at the moment. But what you do need is locate this bag of hardware, and you're gonna pull out this hose right here so that you can install it to this connection. So this comes off, it's just hanging just like this. Twist that out and it pulls right out. And then this hose connects right here. So you're gonna get you some, I grabbed some Teflon tape for this connection here. So I got some Teflon tape. I'm just gonna run a bead of that on here, just so that I could connect that. So just, you don't need too much, but usually on this stuff here, I just roll it around about 4 times or so, depending on what I'm connecting to. So we'll do that. Once you have that on there, it just connects to the end of this hose here. So, and at this point, what you could do is use just a pair of pliers to tighten it. Make sure it's snug. Don't over tighten it, but you want to make sure it's tight, because there is there's your supply. This is your water supply line, and it is pressurized. So hold here. You got good leverage where you could tighten this down. Just hold it, and then just tighten it till pretty much you feel it stopping it. So that's the way you would connect this type of setup, and then this end, of course, is what is going to connect under your sink to your hot water valve. So for the dishwasher. So as you can see, this is where we are for the water supply. Now the next step. So just to give you a comparison, this is the one style. The more common style that I see on the majority of the Bosch dishwashers is actually in the setup where you end up needing to add the 90-degree brass elbow and the steel braided hose yourself to the connection. So I'll show you that in this next step, just to show you where it goes. While we're here on the back side, you can actually see it's going to be located right down here on the bottom, that's where that 90-degree elbow will connect, is right to this valve right here at the bottom side, opposite of where the electric is. So I'll go ahead and demonstrate installing that. Put that there. All right, so, actually, sorry, no, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm not ready for that step. Let me do that one more time. I'm actually gonna leave it while it's up. I can connect it just the way it was, and show you that. So this 90-degree elbow has a washer, a rubber washer that comes inside. So what you're gonna wanna do when you're installing that, before installing it, if you're gonna use Teflon, depending on what if you're connecting you may have a pre-ran copper line and you need to attach directly to it. That's gonna make it difficult just because of this style, unless you have like a super long copper line. But I recommend replacing the copper line with this flexible steel braided hose, specifically on this style installation, because of the placement of it being on the back. It's a lot of blind spots, and you don't want to risk connecting a copper line. You're going to possibly kink it, or you just can't really truly test for it. Like this makes it a lot safer. You don't usually need Teflon if you're connecting to this, but if you are using it, it's easier to access this valve if you're going to need it prior to putting it on. But these hoses have a built-in seal, and I typically don't use Teflon on them just because they do make the seal connection that I need. And I haven't had any issues there. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you. So once you're ready to install your water line, this is gonna end up going the other way. So you want to run this valve and tighten it in the direction going under your sink. So in my case here, this is gonna be this way. Obviously, once that connects here, I'm gonna need my valve basically going this way, like this, so that I have a nice smooth run without it having to, basically just without risking it kinking or anything like that. So whichever direction the line needs to run to go under your sink or to the water supply is the way you want this valve to angle. So we'll go back this way to show you. So mine's gonna be going just like that. I'm gonna go ahead and connect it so where this shoots to that side. And that's simple like this. So what you wanna do is just tighten it down by hand as much as you could, and keep it angled there. Once you get to a point like right here, it's about as much as I can go by hand. Give it an extra snug with your pliers, just to make sure it's tight, and hold this part from turning. This way it stays there. So once I'm here, we're just gonna tighten it down. It's not much. Once you do it by hand, it's almost tight because it's got that built-in washer, and you don't want to, that rubber washer, you don't want to over-tighten these so that you don't have an issue with them just over time leaking. So tighten it, like I said, very little. And then the next move, of course, is gonna be to go ahead and add or attach this stainless steel hose to that fitting. This is where either you could use just a crescent wrench or the 5/8 wrench at this point. So just connects to this other end. Again, same thing. I like to tighten these as much as I can by hand, just to make sure you're not cross-threading or anything like that. Just do it by hand as much as it'll go. And then same idea. You don't want to over-tighten it, just because over-tightening it can pose an issue for you in the future, just with time. This is pressurized, so we just tighten it. You can see I'm barely gonna go maybe 2 full or so turns, and that's all it takes. So this is almost there, a little bit more. But as you're doing this, what you're doing is it's based on a lot of its feel. You don't, there's no boom. So you could feel that it's nice and tight, and that's that. So your plumbing now is set, and we already discussed the electric. So at this point you should know how you're plugging yours in. I'm going to go ahead and proceed with this unit to install it, and it's going to go. We're going to go here. Let's see which one I'm going to show you. I'll go ahead and plug. I'm going to pop this on. So we have it ready. And then same idea, this one, as you saw, the drain hose was already pre-attached from the manufacturer. Now let's go ahead and turn these back around. The final step in preparing your dishwasher is actually going to be just getting it ready for securing in later steps. So locate your mounting brackets now, depending on the ones you have. This one here, if you're going to do a under counter mount, you're gonna of course secure your brackets to the top. If you have depending on if you have a bracket down there that's either attached to the bracket or secured, you may already have some sort of strip underneath your counters. If you have a granite or like a quartz countertop, like a hard stone, I don't drill into granite, nor do I I don't like to take the chances on them. So in my case, I don't actually have a strip here at all. I'm going to be doing a side mount, but I'll show you what to do if you have like regular wood countertops from the bottom and you're going to secure to it. These brackets here are pretty simple. They go this one is going to be, so depending on the model, these are the brackets that you would use for this style dishwasher, and really it just goes pretty much just like this right here. It's got see these a couple of notches on both sides, and this just drops in just like this, and then you just push it in on both sides. So just like that, and that gives you a few different options to be able to secure to the bottom of your counter. Now, the other option you would have is doing the side mount, and that also, then what's included with your hardware is going to be the covers and the screws to do a side mount. These guys right here end up going right through here. So you see there's a hole that's already pre-cut, like pre-prepared, to where you can run your screw through there, and then this ends up being a cover for it. But you're gonna go right through here. There's actually this to do the side mount. I'll show you that just a second. So this goes here, and then you got, and then that's for running the screw through. So you would add these. That's what these parts that come with it. You would pop this in. This just creates, gives you the track for being able to run the screw through, and then you can safely secure this to the sides of the cabinets, the cabinet, like underneath, depending on your setup. Now, keep in mind this sets back just a bit. So if you are doing a side mount, you clearly will need a solid surface to be able to attach that to. So there's so many different scenarios out there, depending on your particular setup, but this just gives you a general idea of what you're looking for installing your unit. As I said, I'm going to be doing a side mount, so I'm not going to use these. I'm going to pop them off, and I'm just going to be using my screws to secure to the sides, and I'll prepare that. The other option brackets you're going to have, if you don't have those, are these right here. And this is a little different, but we have these two brackets that are going to be used for under the counter. And that they simply just go here. There's a little groove once you slide these in here, and just like that. Then once you slide it in, you could bend these little tabs down. You see how it's located, how it looks? You just bend these down to hold it there. So once again, I'm not securing this. So same thing, both sides. You just run that there and bend that down. That holds it. That gives you what you're gonna need to secure to the bottom of the counter. Now the other option on this model, in doing the side mount, this one's a little bit different, just because of this style bracket. It has also the same grooves on the side, right here, same ones you saw at the top. So same concept, and it's just like that. And then you have it, you're gonna obviously, you may need to, depending on your setup, you may need to trim this bracket down. You may not. I always recommend doing that in later steps. Don't do it thinking, oh yeah, it's in the way or you don't need it. Just wait till later to decide if, okay, this is primarily see where it lines up with your cabinet. But as you can see, once you trim it, they have it already, they have it prepared to be able to, where you can access the screw. So you would end up moving that out of the way, secure it, and then you have this out of the way, or you could, move this out of the way, and it gives you the access you need to be able to run the screw into the side of the cabinet. Same idea, but that's pretty much just your visual on what you would do if you're doing a side mount. So that's pretty much it. In preparing your dishwasher, you're really looking for, preparing your unit for the plumbing connections that you have. You have the drain hose that's already attached. There's not much to do there, and then your electric. So whether you're hardwiring the unit or plugging it in, that should cover all the steps in what you're going to need to do it. So now the next step is going to be obviously starting the installation of sliding the unit in place and then going through the steps in making all your connections. Let's get to it. All right, so in this final step, we're gonna be basically just sliding the dishwasher into place and then making all your connections. But before we do that, I want to just tell you about a couple parts that I'm not gonna be using, but you may be confused at what they're used for. So if your current dishwasher that you're connecting to the Bosch dishwasher has this style drain hose, it also came with this adapter here. This particular size on here is for your standard, like if you're draining into like a garbage disposal or like a larger drain connection, that's going to go there. So this actually allows you to, it gives you basically a reducer that you could use it for that. If you have like a smaller, if you're not going into a garbage disposal or going into, like a larger drain connection, you could use this adapter here that gives you the smaller size. But that's what that's for. And then the other thing is, just to make you aware, you obviously see this big box. You're gonna have to, you're gonna probably, if you're fishing this under or behind your cabinet, you got to make sure you have the right, size hole in the cabinet. You have to drill that out in order to be able to fish this line through to get it under your sink. But that's pretty much that there. Then the final thing. The other thing is, of course, keeping in mind you got these other fitting parts that weren't used, but these are used for installing the kick plate. So this is a part that you're going to locate this, and it actually gets attached to the bottom, at the bottom there where you're going to be, where you would need to. I can actually demonstrate this. I'll show you in later steps when we start securing it. But I just wanted to point these out so you know what's going on. So these are used for mounting your kick plate itself. And there's the screws that are in there. But let's go ahead and keep moving forward with sliding this dishwasher in place. This is the more common one. That's why I'm choosing to go with this one for this demonstration. And as you start doing that, what you're going to want to do is get the unit pretty much as close to your opening as possible. And what we'll do is you're going to start running your lines underneath. My drain hose is typically usually the longest, so I have a spacer here. So With that being said, I got some room between my dishwasher and my sink, the cabinet for under my sink. So I can actually run this drain hose through the top and not crush the drain hose in any way. Yours might be actually close and real tight to that cabinet where you may not have that any kind of spacer. So it's likely that you're going to need to run your drain hose from the bottom. Because that's where the cutout is at the bottom of the dishwasher. So you may have to run it through the bottom, because you can see that's pretty much where the space is for you to run your lines, because these dishwashers here will typically go to almost pretty much the back of the wall, the wall behind the dishwasher. So as I said, if you don't have space or any kind of gap, then plan to run all your lines from the bottom. If you do like me, you can go through the top, because what's important in the drain hose is that it's elevated under the sink. It's the biggest mistake I see when people are installing their dishwasher is they'll run it through the bottom and then they connect it like pretty much coming from the bottom and right to, for example, their drain, which is up like this. Now what you have is a sagging drain hose. With a sagging drain hose, what that creates is basically the opportunity of, or the possibility of water backflowing into your dishwasher. So these dishwashers will start to drain out water. And once they do that, they're usually on a timed pump. It'll pump out the water. Well, if it's sagging like this, once that pump stops, any water that hasn't siphoned into the drain, of course, is gonna go right back into your dishwasher. So now you have, old drain water sitting in the bottom of your dishwasher. So that's another thing. If you got old drain water sitting in the bottom of the dishwasher, know that the drain hose is probably not connected properly. So if you run through the bottom, once you run it through the bottom, what you're going to want to do is create this look. So you're going to run through the bottom. As you get it under the sink, you're going to want to elevate the hose underneath in the cabinet under the sink, and then make your connection. So now you've created this type of connection. So what's happening is you can use anything here, honestly, like under your sink. You could take a zip tie and zip tie it to the bottom of the sink. You can grab a clamp and secure it, but the idea is you want to find a way to make sure that your drain hose stays up under your sink, and then this pretty much creates this, so that now what happens is water's pumping out to drain out, it gets here, rather than it going down, it now siphons into the drain, and then of course if you fill your sink or you're washing dishes, whatever it is, no water that's going down the rest of your drain will backflow into the dishwasher, because if it's like this, again, there is the possibility that water will go this way. So doing like that, water is not going to travel up. All right, so I think that you get the picture there. So let's go ahead. I'm going to run my drain hose under the sink, and I'll start with that. I'm running that line through this way. I don't actually have to hang it. So I'm running that there. Then I have my water supply, which is right here. And typically those hoses are they're standard size, about 6 feet or so, and then when you're making your connections, you usually always run your supply line through the bottom. So that's always going to be ran through the bottom, and I'm going to do that. And then, of course, the last thing that you're also going to be fishing through there would be your power cord to plug in the dishwasher. So if you're plugging your dishwasher in, also run your power cord right through the bottom there. And my site is a demonstration site for training purposes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and plug mine. I got an outlet right here on the back side. I'm just gonna go ahead and plug that in back here now before I slide it back, so I can show you that I have power. Oh, you just heard it. I got power. It beeped already. But anyway, so we got. You're gonna run your lines through. As you do that, you just get them started. Once you get them started, the next thing is to start to push your dishwasher in place. Keep in mind, before you push it too far back, just make sure that your hoses are not compromised in any way, they're not pinched, and then also make sure that any insulation, this, by the way, I didn't mention, it is insulation, it is to stay here, don't remove it. It's a sound barrier. This way you don't hear all the water, the unit running or water splashing so much. So this is insulation, stays there. So I like to make sure I push in on it, make sure that it's going in nice and smooth. So just push in, you got it, it's nice and clean. And then as you push through, do the same thing. Once you get, push it in about halfway. Once that's done, then what you're gonna wanna do is start to just make sure that your lines are being fed under the sink and not bunching up behind the unit. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. So yeah, so what you're gonna do is just make sure you're running your hoses through slowly as you push the dishwasher in place. So I got my supply line, you'll have your power cord, and here's your drain hose. Before you go too much further at this point, my recommendation is to make sure you have power to the unit so that you're not making all these connections and then you end up having to disconnect it. So I recommend that you go ahead and just confirm that the unit does have juice. I heard mine beep when I plugged it in, but if you didn't hear a beep, or if you hardwired your unit, go ahead and you are likely had your your circuit breaker turned off if you're doing a hardwire. So if that's the case, go ahead and turn your breaker back on and just make sure you have power. So I know I have power here, so it's beeping, so I got power, I'm in good shape. I just like to do that because just in case any connection was made bad or something like that, I can address it before I fully push this unit all the way in and make connect the water and the drain. So as I mentioned earlier, so mine's going to be draining in. I have just a one drain sink, and as you can see, I'm going to be connecting to my garbage disposal. So once you get here, I'm going to go ahead and just show you. I'm going to go ahead and push the dishwasher pretty much in before I make the connections, just to make sure that I can set the lines up properly. So let me go ahead and do that. And got that back off. So keep going through, and so as you can see, I already got my brackets pre-installed on the dishwasher itself, and once again everything's going in nice and smooth. Once I get here, that's about as much as it's gonna go. You can see once you get to the right spot, the seal here that gives it the built-in look lines up with your cabinet. So that's perfect, and it's designed to where your controls, as you can see, are actually hidden under your counter. And then the bracket, you could see pretty much on this side where you could pretty much shear it off is in line here, and then I can actually use the back hole right back there to go ahead and secure it. So that's what I would be doing, but for demonstration purposes, that you get the point. So at this point, but we don't have to do that quite yet. I'm just pointing it out while we're at that angle. But let's go ahead and make the connections that we need to under the sink. Under the sink, I have my drain hose, and I'm gonna go ahead and, as I said, I'm gonna go ahead and connect it to here. This to the garbage disposal. You should have a drain hose that came with it, and I'll show you what that's gonna look like. This right here, that will come with it, and you slide that over this drain hose, and then these are actually super tight, but you can wiggle it on to the fitting to the drain, and usually that makes it, I find it to be the easiest way. Is just get around it, and then you gotta apply some pressure. Once you get here, that's it. So that's it. You apply some pressure, you wiggle around to get it going. You could probably wet it a little bit, and that'll help it slide on a little easier. So just wet the inside of the hose slightly, or the drain connection, because it is extra tight, and then you just slide this over and go ahead and tighten that down. So it's a flathead connection, or you could use it looks like it's a 1/4 inch size, or a 3/8, but flathead actually works perfect. That's what the edge of that clamp is. So we'll go ahead and do that, get that on there, and then just secure that. So there's your drain hose. You tighten that as much as you can. It'll pretty much stop itself once you get that pretty tight. The hose is tight on its own, but you just want to do that so it doesn't pop out at any point, just from anything that you might have going on under your sink, as far as like just movements of supplies and cleaning things. But it's nice and tight, so that's good. And then now your water supply line. My connection is going to be hard to see. It's actually way back here in the corner, or not in the corner, but behind the garbage disposal. So any excess hose, I usually just push back behind the dishwasher. But I'm gonna try to show you as much as possible. This, so once again, you're gonna use either an open wrench or a 5/8 size wrench. So as soon as my supply line's connected, I'll turn the water on. The reason I like to turn the water on at that moment is because I want to be able to discover. I'm gonna let you take a look. So that's the connection right there, and my water is turned on already. So I like to make sure before I go any further and do any extra work, I want to make sure that I don't have any leaks. So it's water's turned on. It's my connection looks good, and in some instances, if you're able to do it, the other thing is usually, to be completely frank, the fact that the connection on this dishwasher is on the back side. Again, once again, it's a blind spot, so you can't really see it. If you have a longer hose or able to check it, I recommend putting eyes on that connection. Just make sure, because once it's back there, if there's anything leaking, you really don't know until it's created a big problem for you. So I'm pretty confident in my work, but just speaking from the past, like those are things that I've always conscious of, is anywhere you have a water connection that's made, you want to confirm at this point you're doing the installation, just make sure that can put eyes on it if you can. If the hose is long enough, which it should be long enough, I can probably slide this unit out even at this point right now to just show you the back of the valve where we made. But do that if you can. And as I said, you should have plenty of slack. That steel braided hose is about 6 feet long, and it's already located at the bottom. So you should be able to pivot that out and test that to make sure that it's not leaking. So we got our drain hose connected, we got our water connected, the unit's now plugged in, it's pretty much good to go. At this point, what you can do is, you obviously know you got power, you could go ahead and do your test cycle. Just make sure that the unit is working as it should, this way, and it's running properly, and then your final step, of course, is gonna be now leveling and securing the unit, and then doing the final touches of installing the kick plate. All right, so in this final step, basically what I'm going to do is level the unit and go ahead and show you how to secure it. As you're leveling the unit, Bosch has a design, as you probably were noticing, it's a sealed unit. What you're going to want to do is you can take a look right here in the center of the unit. There's you can see a flathead screw type setup. This setup is so that you can adjust the back leg. It's one leg that's in the center of the unit that helps the back side of the dishwasher go up and down. So that's what you're going to use to adjust it, and it shows you, as you can see, it shows you which direction to turn, depending on which direction, if you want to go up or down. So you can see it here. If you go this way, you're going to go up, and then this way here, you'll go down. So we'll go ahead and turn this unit, and you'll be able to start to actually notice as I'm screwing it. You see how it's starting to lean forward? It's a very slight movement, but as I'm doing that, you're looking to see how it's starting to tip forward. So we can go ahead and do that, because you can see I do have a gap. So I'm gonna go ahead and adjust it up. And then now I'm leaning forward. You can actually see it, I'm leaning forward because this rubber seal. So to adjust now and go back in and get it in place, all I gotta do is adjust the front legs so that I can now be square. So I'm using my hand just to raise it like you see. Pretty much for this step, to adjust the legs, if you have as much room as I got, you could use either pliers or whatever, not necessarily pliers. It don't work out so good because you don't have that much room there, and depending on your flooring, if you have tile in the front, you can't really get to this foot. So these feet have a groove for a flathead screwdriver. That's the easiest way to adjust these feet. You just turn with this flathead screwdriver, it just slides right into that groove, and you can see exactly what I'm doing here. So it makes it a lot easier. So you can see I'm good. And then same thing, we'll do the same thing on the other side, and get that down to the ground just to get it leveled, and take a peek at it. We'll see where we're sitting to see if there's any more adjustments we need to make. And if so, we could do that. But pretty much that's what you're gonna wanna do at this point, is just play around with the feet, both in the front and the one in the center, to get the unit to be square. Just some points to consider when leveling the unit. You want to level the unit based on the ground. So, you may have some older countertops or some older cabinets, and they may not be 100% square. Your counter might be drooping for whatever reason. So in order for your unit to function properly, it does need to be level. That being said, level it based on the ground. You can use different check areas. What I usually like to do is sometimes use this space compared to this space. If you're looking at it, you can kind of see right here where I got, less of a gap than I do here. So of course, what I would like to do is go ahead and, drop this a little down. But I'm only doing that knowing that I have a solid granite countertop and my countertop is level. So I'll show you that, just to keep that in mind. So grab you like a little level, just to make sure. So I'm good. As you can see, I got a level, my countertops are level. So I could use this as a guide to be able to tell me, okay, this gap here, there. But of course, I could just set this on here on the handle and I could see that my unit's level. The other the other areas you could check is, check on this side and then the opposite side, just to make sure that you have the unit square in the space, like centered in the space as well. They're the same gap as here. This way your door does open and close properly. Your hinges are free, not rubbing against either side of the cabinet. So as I said, you just want to, check the gaps. You check here, check on, all up, top and bottom. Just see that you have nice even gaps. Make sure it's even there. And then the final check is that you want to make sure that your unit's not leaning forward or, of course, too far back. Too far back is just going to do an eyesore. So if your unit is, with the level, you can always put that on here. You could see that I could go. I'm still leaning a little too forward because I dropped the back leg. So I still have more of a gap than I'd like up top. So I could go ahead and raise the unit a little higher. So I'm going to go ahead and do that till I get this nice and square. So let me just go ahead and do that. And then we'll go on and I'll show you how to properly secure your unit. Let's pop that up a little bit more. And right there, it looks perfect. So I got the feet up. I'm nice and centered in the space. I'm looking here, looks good to me. I'm a little OCD, so every dishwasher I've ever installed in the past, I've installed it as if it was mine, and I take so much pride in my dishwasher installations. So that's why I have all these checkpoints. Probably a little much, but either way. So now that we got that done, the final step is going to be securing your unit. Well, not the final step, securing your unit, and then of course attaching your kick plate. But let's go ahead and secure the unit. So at this point, we know it's safe to secure it. You're done. You've made all your connections. You've tested for leaks. Your power is on. This is where you're going to, secure it. And as you can see, since I got mine pushed back a little, far back, you could play around with that. I could pull it out a little bit just to get it even with my cabinet. And I can, use the rubber seal here on both sides as a guide, and then you can cut the rest of what you don't need off. Get you some snips, just cut that off so that this is not hanging past the cabinet. And then this is where you would secure. So you can see typically that should line up with the edge of your cabinet. So run a screw, which are included in this. You're gonna look for these right here, just some little wood screws, just like that. And typically you could, it'll hide right behind this seal. So on both sides. So, and that's pretty much how to secure the unit. So you're gonna want to do that. Then the final step is gonna be locate your kick plate and the 2 screws for the kick plate, which are typically these long black screws that we're gonna use. That's these right here. And we'll just go ahead and run that in the space. So everything is final. This will be the final step. This just pretty much just goes right in here, bottom, and then goes up against, bam, just like that. And you have a few different spots where the screws can go depending on the height of your floor and like where it's being installed. You can see there's a few different locations. So this will just go right here, and you could run that screw. Some scenarios are going to be these longer screws. Like I said, Bosch has a few different setups, but it would be either these, or in some cases it'll be the other bag of screws, and I'll show you those as well. But let me just make sure it's actually these. These are the other mounting screws. So you're going to locate the short screw or the black screw, but they're typically the black screw that secures the kick plate. But that's basically it in a nutshell. I'm sure I shouldn't say a nutshell. That's about as detailed as it gets. But definitely, I didn't mention earlier, if you're watching this video prior to even removing your old dishwasher, check out my other video. It actually walks you through how to uninstall your existing dishwasher. And then also, I'm gonna throw in some links on a recommended dishwasher kit that will include the hoses, the fittings, things like that you might need down in the description below, and then some of the tools. So take a peek there. But if this video helps you, or you feel like it could help, give this video a like, and of course, like and subscribe for more.